Have you ever noticed how the loudest voice in your life is not from the outside world, but from inside your own head? That whisper that says you're not good enough. That echo that reminds you of every mistake you've ever made. That critic that seems to appear right before you take a risk, right before you try something new, right before you dare to dream bigger. The truth is, the most dangerous enemy you will ever face is not the one standing in front of you, but the one living within you. Psychologists call it the inner critic. It's that relentless part of your mind that highlights your flaws and hides your strengths. It tells you that you're not ready, not capable, not worthy. It's the reason so many people give up on their goals before they even begin. It's the voice that kills potential silently without anyone else ever noticing. And the scary part, most people believe that voice. They treat it as truth. They allow it to write their story before they've had the chance to live it. But here's the reality. You were not born with that critic. No baby looks in the mirror and says, "I'm not good enough." That voice was built over time. It was shaped by moments when people doubted you, judged you, or rejected you. It grew louder every time you compared yourself to others. It gained strength every time you failed and chose to focus on the pain instead of the lesson. It's nothing more than a collection of old fears, old wounds, owns, and old doubts pretending to be your reality. And here's where psychology gives us hope. The human brain is wired to remember criticism more deeply than praise. One negative comment can outweigh 10 compliments. This bias once helped us survive, keeping us alert to danger. But today, it doesn't just keep us safe, it often keeps us stuck. The critic in your mind isn't protecting you, it's paralyzing you. It's not guiding you, it's limiting you. The cost of letting it control you is enormous. Think about the dreams you've buried because of that voice. Think about the opportunities you never took because it whispered, "You're not ready." Think about the relationships you avoided, the talents you hid, the goals you delayed. The inner critic convinces you to shrink your world so that you never have to face the discomfort of growth. But here's the problem. Comfort zones feel safe, but they're also cages. And every time you listen to that critic, the walls of the cage grow tighter. Now, here's a shift. What if that voice inside you wasn't an enemy, but a signal? What if every time it whispered doubt, it was proof you in stepping to something important, something meaningful, something that mattered? What if instead of silencing your dreams, you silence the critic? Because here's the truth, your mind will always talk, but you get to choose who it speaks for. Will it speak for your fears, or will it speak for your future? And this is where your journey begins. If you've ever felt trapped by negative self-talk, if you've ever lost battles inside your head before the world even saw you fight, know this: you're not alone. Everyone carries an inner critic, but not everyone learns how to master it. The people who rise, the ones who lead, the ones who inspire, are not the ones who never hear the critic. They are the ones who hear it, recognize it, and choose not to obey it. Stay with me until the end of this video and you will discover how to take back that power. You'll learn practical, psychology-backed steps to stop negative self-talk, to transform the critic into a coach, and to finally break free from the voice that has held you back far too long. If you've been waiting for a moment to step into your best self, this is that moment. Keep watching, because what comes next may change the way you talk to yourself and the way you live your life forever. To defeat the inner critic, you must first understand it. That voice is not some mystical force. It's the result of programming. Every harsh word from the past, every comparison, every failure that went unhealed, all of it left an imprint on your mind. Over time, those imprints became patterns. Patterns became beliefs, and those beliefs now speak to you as if they are facts. Psychology calls this phenomenon the negativity bias. Your brain is wired to hold on to pain more tightly than joy. One rejection can outweigh 10 moments of praise. One failure can overshadow countless wins. And so the critic thrives in the shadows of your memory, feeding on every moment of doubt. It sounds like truth, but in reality, it is only a distorted echo of the past. Here's the powerful part. You are not your thoughts. You are the observer of your thoughts. The moment you realize this, you create distance between who you are and what the critic says. That space is freedom. In that space, you can challenge the critic instead of obeying it. You can ask, is this thought helping me, or is it holding me back? And often, you'll discover that the critic is not protecting you from failure. It is protecting you from growth. The inner critic may be loud, but it is not in control. Its power lies in your agreement with it. Every time you believe it, you give it strength. Every time you challenge it, you weaken its grip. And when you begin to recognize its lies, you take the first step towards silencing it for good. The danger of negative self-talk is not just the words, it's the life those words create. Every time you tell yourself you are not capable, you begin to act smaller. Every time you repeat that you will fail, you stop yourself from even trying. Slowly, without noticing, the critic doesn't just live in your mind, it builds the walls around your future. This is how dreams die, not with a dramatic ending, but with quiet surrender. The critic convinces you to settle for less, to play safe, to shrink your vision so you no longer feel fear. But comfort is deceptive, feels like safety, yet it robs you of growth. The truth is, every breakthrough, every success, every transformation begins in a place of discomfort. And if the critic keeps you away from that place, it keeps you away from your potential. Psychology proves that what you repeatedly say to yourself becomes your identity. Thoughts create emotions, emotions shape actions, and actions build your reality. If you feed your mind with doubt, your life reflects limitation. If you feed it with belief, your life reflects possibility. The critic is not just stealing your confidence, it is shaping the story of who you believe you are. But here's the truth that changes everything. Those thoughts are not permanent. They are not carved in stone. They are habits of the mind, and like any habit, they can be replaced. The critic is powerful only because it has gone unchallenged. The moment you decide to confront it, the moment you refuse to accept its words as truth, you begin to take back control. If negative self-talk can destroy confidence, then changing that dialogue can rebuild it. The words you speak to yourself are not just sounds in your head, they are instructions to your brain. Every phrase becomes a command, shaping the way you feel and the way you act. This is why reframing your inner dialogue is one of the most powerful tools you will ever master. Think about it when the critic says, I can't do this, you can reframe it into, I will learn how. When it says, I always fail, you can shift it to, failure is how I grow stronger. This isn't about blind positivity, it's about choosing words that open doors instead of slamming them shut. It's about training your mind to see possibility instead of limitation. Psychology shows us that the brain is highly adaptable. It builds pathways based on repetition. If you keep repeating doubt, those pathways become stronger. But if you consistently repeat belief, you create new pathways of confidence and courage. In other words, your brain listens to the story you tell it, and then it works to make that story true. This is why leaders, achievers, world changers all master their self-talk. They understand that the voice inside is either their greatest weapon or the deepest weakness, and the choice is always theirs. So ask yourself, what story are you telling your mind right now? Is it a story of limits or a story of strength? Because when you change your words, you change your emotions. When you change your emotions, you change your actions. When you change your actions, you change your entire life. Reframing your inner dialogue is powerful, but power grows only when put into practice. The first step is awareness. You cannot silence the critic if you don't catch it speaking. Begin by noticing the exact words you use when you make a mistake or face a challenge. Do you say, I'm so stupid, or I always mess things up? Write those phrases down. Seeing them on paper strips them of the hidden control and exposes them for what they are, habits, not truth. The second step is replacement. Every time you hear the critic, replace its line with one of your own. If the critic says you're not ready, respond with, I'm preparing every day. If it says you'll never succeed, fire back with, I'm moving forward one step at a time. This isn't lying to yourself, it's choosing a perspective that drives action instead of paralysis. The third step is repetition. Psychology proves that repeated thoughts carve deep grooves into the mind. Think of it as mental training. Just as muscles grow stronger with consistent exercise, belief grows stronger with consistent repetition of empowering words. Use affirmations, journal your progress, or even say the truth out loud. Each repetition plants a seed, and over time, those seeds become an unshakable forest of confidence. Finally, celebrate progress. Even the smallest victory is evidence that the critic is losing power. When you replace a single negative thought with a positive one, recognize it when you take action despite doubt, acknowledge it, small wins compound, and soon the critic's voice fades into the background while your voice of strength takes center stage. Your inner world is your training ground. Train it daily and watch how your reality begins to shift in ways you never imagined. Words shape the mind, but emotions give those words power. Your inner critic feeds on negative emotions, fear, doubt, and shame. If you let those emotions stay unchallenged, they make the critic's voice sound louder than it really is. That's why managing your emotional state is just as important as changing your thoughts. Think about it, true, when you stand tall, breathe deeply, and lift your head, your body signals strength to your brain. Psychology calls this embodied cognition. The way you carry yourself directly affects the way you think. If you want to silence the critic, don't just change your word, just change your words, change your posture, your breath, and your energy. It's almost impossible to feel defeated when your body is aligned with confidence. Another key is emotional redirection. The critic thrives in moments of frustration or disappointment. But instead of letting that energy drag you down, redirect it, channel it into movement, take a walk, exercise, or even stretch. Action shifts energy, and shifted energy disrupts the critic's control. Every time you redirect, you prove that emotions don't own you, you own them. And here's something powerful: gratitude. It might seem small, but gratitude instantly lowers the critic's volume. When you focus on what you already have, what you've already survived, and what you're capable of today, the critic runs out of material. It cannot thrive in a mind that celebrates progress. So, combine the two. Empowering words with empowering emotions. Speak strength while standing strong. Redirect doubt into action. Replace frustration with gratitude. When your thoughts, emotions, and body work together, the critic no longer commands the stage. Instead, the voice of belief becomes louder, clearer, and unstoppable. Strength is not built in a single moment. It is forged through repetition. Silencing the inner critic is not about one victory. It's about building resilience that lasts. The critic will return, whispering again and again, but each time you rise above it, your power grows. Think of resilience like a muscle. The more you train it, the stronger it becomes. When life throws setbacks your way, the critic will say, "See, you failed again." But resilience answers back, "This is just a step in the process." Every successful person you admire has faced moments of doubt, defeat, and fear. What set them apart was not perfection, but their refusal to let the critic write their story. They turned stumbling blocks into stepping stones, and every setback became fuel for a stronger comeback. One of the best ways to strengthen resilience is through self-compassion. Most people think toughness means being hard on yourself, but psychology shows the opposite. Beating yourself up only feeds the critic. Speaking to yourself with kindness, even in failure, cuts off the critic's supply of shame. Resilience is not about ignoring pain, it's about treating yourself with enough respect to rise again. And remember, consistency matters more than intensity. Small daily wins silence the critic far more effectively than one grand gesture. Each day you choose courage over doubt, gratitude over complaint, and action over fear. The critic loses its grip. These choices stack up, shaping a mindset that can withstand storms. Resilience is proof that you are stronger than the voice in your head. It is the shield that guards your self-belief and the foundation that keeps you moving forward. No matter how loud the critic tries to be, at the end of the day, the inner critic only has the power you choose to give it. It survives on your attention, your doubt, and your fear. But when you take that power back, everything changes. The voice inside that once told you can't becomes silent, and a stronger voice rises up, one that says, "I can, I will, must." Silencing the inner critic does not mean you'll never feel doubt again. Doubt will always knock at the door. But the difference is this: you no longer open it. You recognize that doubt is nothing more than a shadow, and shadows only exist when there is light. That light is you, your belief, your resilience, your commitment to becoming more than what fear says you are. Every time you choose courage over hesitation, you take a step toward freedom. Every time you choose faith over fear, you silence the critic. And every time you act, even in uncertainty, you prove to yourself the voice of strength is louder than the voice of doubt. This is how champions are built, not by avoiding fear, but by refusing to bow down to it. Now imagine what your life will look like when the critic no longer runs the show. Imagine the relationships you will build, the goals you will chase, the dreams you will finally believe you deserve. That future is not far away. It begins the moment you decide that your voice, your truth, and your belief matter more than the lies in your head. The critic has spoken long enough. It is time for your voice to rise, not tomorrow, not someday, today. Because you are more powerful than you realize, and the world is waiting for the strength only you can bring. If you've made it this far, it means you're ready to take back control from the voice that has held you back for too long. The inner critic doesn't define you. Your choices do, your courage does, your belief does. So here's my question to you. Are you ready to silence that voice once and for all and step into the life you were meant to live? If the answer is yes, then don't walk this journey alone. Join us here at Motivation Vault, where every word, every story, and every lesson is designed to remind you of the unstoppable strength inside you. Hit subscribe, share this with someone who needs it, and let's build a world where the critic is silent, the voice of confidence roars louder than ever, because your best chapter is waiting, and it starts now.